We're here to talk about developing for data transformation. And what does that mean? Well, that means using FME Server to develop web-enabled applications and stuff like that. You're gonna find out. Trust me, what it means. Okay, you're running the slide. Great.
So focus. There we go. Yeah.
In the background, we've got two people. We've got Laura, who will be doing question and answer. So if you have any questions, throw them into the panel there, and she's going to answer any questions related to anything you want. Your favorite artists at Squamish Fest could be, but most likely FME Server related.
Yeah, probably, or code related.
Or code related.
Yeah.
Devet and who is right here, and Laura are two of the top developer people on the support team, FME Server support team, for JavaScript and things like that. So what do we do? At SAFE, we connect, we transform, and we automate. So connect formats, connect protocols, transform data is obviously very important, and then automate all of that, all of those processes using, well, FME Server is good for that. So that's kind of an overview of what we do. We are going to be diving fairly deep today into capabilities of FME and FME Server. If you want to just learn about FME from really a basic level, you can go to our Getting Started webinar. I think it's every week, is it?
Yeah, something like that.
Every week they have that live product demo. You can go, you can ask questions, and you can really get a good understanding. That doesn't now that being said, this webinar isn't just for people that know FME.
No, it's if you. I mean, yeah, we go pretty deeply into the concepts of FME, but if you're already an accomplished web developer, you're probably going to get a lot out of this as well, because we'll show you how to tie these things you know into FME, which you maybe don't know yet.
Yeah, tie in some spatial capabilities. So speaking of capabilities, we've got FME Server, and what does it do? Well, we think of it overall as an automation framework or platform, but diving in a little bit deeper, you've got automation in terms of scheduling tasks to occur, self-serve in terms of being able to distribute data, being able to upload data, and real-time processing of data and serving it out. And you're going to see examples of all of these today from a developer's perspective, from a JavaScript type perspective. And we have done deep dives on all of these topics. There's a webinar for each one of them. There's a landing page for each one. And let's do an actual poll now, and we want to know about these kind of web development related terms. And Control, or the moderator, also known as Stephanie, will load up that poll. And so have you heard of these terms? Are you familiar with them? Do you know what they mean? This will let us know a little bit about, should we explain a bit more about one or the other? And it looks like lots of people know about REST.
Yeah, webhooks also kind of a new term to me. It's probably something you have actually heard of before, because the concepts are not that new, but the term kind of, Aaron, you were saying they formalized it into a technique.
I mean, there was somebody who formalized it a few years ago, and finally it's caught on. When I first heard about it, I thought it meant it was a phishing term. You hooks and webs, or a Spider-Man villain or something.
Yeah, exactly.
None of the above. So so cores and webhooks. That's what people don't know about.
Okay. Good.
So
we're
gonna cover them today. It's great. So we're gonna start talking about client-server architecture, and we'll jump straight to an app and basically start explaining from there. So here, when the slide advances here, this is a whole web app that actually, I believe you developed this.
Yeah, this is for the World Cup of Data, if anyone's at the user conference. It was kind of a contest we had there. This slide just shows how you can build a whole web app using basically just FME and your usual JavaScript, HTML kind of front end. Can build up a REST API there as a workspace and persist the data in a Postgres database, and in the front end you use some AJAX calls and some templating to build up a dynamic web app.
So very common database on the back end. FME Server prevents the requirement for coding, and then, like you said, JavaScript on the front end. And we'll show you a bunch of those today. So starting off looking at the server side of the client-server architecture, FME Server does prevent you from having to code, enables you to not have to do that, I guess. What does it do? It transforms data. It interacts with files and databases and stores state in databases. And of course, it has that spatial analysis and processing capability that you wouldn't get with other servers. And the slides are a little bit laggy here, so I apologize for that. Continuing on with server side here, the way that FME Server works is a request will come in through HTTP. That request will go into a queue, and there are things called FME engines that basically come along and process these requests. And you can have multiple FME engines. How many requests can you process if you only have one FME engine?
It's just one request per engine, so just one there.
What if I have, say, 10 FME engines?
It's 10 jobs, 10 requests.
And that's concurrent at the same time?
Yeah, it just pulls them all from the queue at once.
There you go. And so that's how it works. If you only have one engine and you send 10 jobs, they'll be queued, so it's not the end of the... So continuing on with, where are we at here? Continuing on with the client server, talking about the server side, FME Server. How do you interact with FME Server through the web? Use either the data streaming service, the REST API, or HTML5 WebSockets. We're going to talk about all three coming up. So just to let you know, those are the interfaces to server from the web. Now, that doesn't mean you can only use, those are the only ways to interact. You can use any programming language you want to make a REST call to the data streaming service or the REST API. .NET supports it, Java, Python, all of these support it. Which brings us to our next poll question. What programming language are you looking to use with server?
Yeah, and if there's something not on the list, please let us know. Let Laura know, and we'll mention that as well. Kind of take a look at what else you're interested in.
What do we got here? Do you have a particular favorite on that list, Devet?
Well, I mean, JavaScript's so widely supported for front-end development. Just it's probably the best on there for.
But look at that.
But
Python.
Yeah, a lot of Python.
A lot of Python users. Not surprising in the GIS industry.
Oh yeah, and I mean FME has great Python support for scripting and so on. So that's
and some Ruby.
Good to see.
Yeah, and actually we got a new JavaScript caller in the product too.
Yeah, that's correct.
And Ruby on Rails 5% there. That's how the cloud is built. FME Cloud is built on Ruby.
Yeah, all the login and that sort of thing. Okay,
so now flipping from the server side to the client side, we've been talking about JavaScript, and of course, it is the most common client side application language. And since you're dealing with JavaScript, why not sling around a format of data that works with JavaScript well, and that's JSON. So very common, you'll see that. Hopefully Don's not watching.
Yeah, it's not quite XML.
It's not quite XML, but
yeah, I heard he's adopted JSON as a younger brother as well. So that's,
I believe he calls it baby brother.
Baby brother, yeah.
All right, so now we're going to talk about requesting data, and I am going to flip this back over to Devet.
We have a demo here using the data streaming service. So what that means is you can just request a URL and you get some data back. Pull that up here. This is in the new FME Server Developer Playground, or newly redeveloped at least. It's got some great new features. You can see the sample code there, but what we're interested in first of all is the demo here. This is a Google Maps web map, and we're just going to load some data from FME Server. Not even sure what format it's stored in the backend, but it can be requested in any format you like. Let's take a look and zoom in here. All the features have been loaded. You can click on them and even see the attributes popping up there. So this is the response you get back when you request data. It looks like this, loaded up in Notepad++. This is KML.
Note the XML format.
Yes, XML there. Can also get it in JSON, GPX, which is another XML variant. But yeah, for Google Maps, you want KML, of course. So if you take a look at the code here, I think I said line 60. Yeah, so you're setting up the workspace here. It's a data streaming service, and the format there. You just pass that along to Google Maps, and it'll just load it like any other resource online. We do have some demos available here for other APIs, other web mapping APIs. Won't go into those right now, but if you like to take a look at them yourself, they're on the developer playground.
So if I understand you correctly, you're giving a URL, a service URL to Google Web Maps, and it's going, okay, I'll display that. It just so happens that that service is a workspace giving KML.
Exactly. Yeah. It's just
how do you create that? How do you create that service?
Well, so what you do is you just it's going to be publishing it up to FME Server, and so when you go through the publish wizard, which I'll show you in a second here, you select the data streaming service, and it will grab the writer and use that as the response. I do just want to address one kind of an issue here with requesting resources from FME Server if you've got your page hosted on a different machine. Cores. Aaron, do you want to tell us what that's all about?
Yeah, so when I first was developing with cloud machines and have a local application server, I kept getting this error in JavaScript that said, you got a problem with your cores, and I thought, well, I know I have to do more sit-ups, but like, why isn't my demo working? It turns out that cores thing actually refers to basically if you're trying to request an application that's on a different domain or different host, request a service from a different host or domain from the one where your web page is located, that's considered a cross-origin resource sharing like violation basically. So in FME Server we have the ability to allow certain sites and basically I think it's called cores filter.
Yeah, and that we've just added this actually to the graphical interface. But if you are not on, if you're not going to be on SP3 2014 SP3 soon, you can still do it via config files as well. But here you can just kind of set the origins you want to allow and the methods and all this, and just hit save and apply there.
Yeah, really important if you're working with FME Cloud or if you're working with any kind of machine where you're requesting resources from another machine, another host.
Yeah. So that was kind of just requesting data, but if you're kind of setting up an interface where a client can generate some data right in the browser, you're going to want to process that and send back some sort of a response. I'm going to take a look at another demo here where we're going to supply some information via published parameters. So this is a reprojection service. It's a pretty basic demo, but it definitely demonstrates this concept quite nicely. I'm just going to choose spherical Mercator here, and when I click on the map here, just wait half a second, and we get back a response here with GeoJSON of the point in spherical Mercator. And so we can kind of take a look here in this tool here. This is the Chrome developer tools. Most browsers have something like this. Network tab. You can see the request going through there, and we can see, here's the attributes and then the response, of course. How this works? This is the workspace I pulled up earlier. Wow, is it complicated?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we've got creator just to start things off. Point creator, this pulls the attributes from published parameters and turns them into a point. Standard spatial stuff here, reprojecting, parameter fetcher at the coordinate system, send that out. This is a GeoJSON writer. And now when I go through and publish, as I mentioned earlier, let me just choose a server here.
So you're creating the service, aren't you?
Yeah, it's creating the service, and all it is publishing a workspace to server. I can go ahead and replace that, and then here, this is key. You have to choose data streaming, and it will just grab that writer and use that as the response.
So there's your
that's
endpoint.
a service. Yeah, that's an endpoint. You can go ahead and use that.
Wow.
Just a little tool here to investigate this a bit further. It's a tool called Postman. It's going to open that up. And I've got a URL ready to go here. This is the same one I requested before. We can just click URL parameters here, and you can see everything broken down nicely. And that's a token that's used for authentication. Y, X value coordinate system. You can send that and kind of test things as you're developing them. It's a pretty useful tool to be aware of. Yeah, so I think that was an example of just sort of a direct streaming tool with AJAX requests. So that's requests that you make in JavaScript without refreshing the whole page. Very handy. But what if you're actually looking to, download a larger file?
Thing is, I'm a more traditional guy, so this JSON and all this kind of stuff is a little beyond me.
Just want a CAD file, right?
I just want a CAD file without coordinate system and all that stuff. Well, maybe not that bad, but how can we allow you to download data, especially data that's, maybe it's LiDAR and you're exporting, it's going to take half an hour. How can you build up an interface that does that? Well, let's take a look at a demo to start this off. Here we've got a nice little demo for distributing or delivering data. So I can come in here, let me browse over here. I can come in, draw a polygon where I'm interested in downloading some data. And I can pick, maybe I want the bus routes and the bus stops so I don't get lost. I can pick whatever coordinate system I want. I'm a UTM guy, traditionalist, I guess. And where's that AutoCAD? There's the option. Click request, so I get exactly what I want. Download it here. And you can imagine that if that had taken longer, I could put in my email address and get it delivered via email later on. But in this case, it was nice and fast. Now, similar to what you showed in the Chrome developer tools, we've got a URL here. The one big difference is that this one says FME data download.
Yeah. So what's that about? How's that different?
The significance there is it will zip the data and give you a link to it rather than just give you the data directly, like the data streaming service. Now we're still using published parameters. Here you can see the geometry is being passed in as well-known text. I'm going to do a little bit of a closer look at the coordinate system published parameter, which we see right here. So we're going to look into that.
Right. Yeah. So that's a drop-down that looks like a bit more involved.
Yeah. How did we actually create that? So we'll come in here. Here's the workspace. Reads, does some clipping, some styling if you pick KML, and then it goes to the output there. But I'm going to drill down to, here is the output. This coordinate system parameter is published, which makes it accessible as a URL argument or a query string argument, if you will. Here it is. If I right-click and edit that definition, you're going to see it's a choice with alias type. Now there's a bunch of types, but I'm going to just look at choice with alias. What that means is that you will get to make a choice, just like you did in the interface, of one of these. We will in the interface give a nice name, an alias, or something that is human readable and understandable. But under the hood, FME is going to get one of these EPSG numbers, something that nobody understands, basically. So that's how that works. Now, if we come back here, if I change this value and republish the workspace, this list will then be updated. So it's dynamic. It's linked directly to this workspace. And I know what you're going to say. How? I knew you were going to say that. Okay. So how? Once you get it published up there, it is connected via our REST API. So if I click over here, this is new, last release. And if I come into repositories, this to me is so sweet, this interface. The reason I think it's so sweet is it looks like candy, those candy hearts.
Yeah, yeah.
And I always think it's just, I don't know, something about it makes me want candy hearts every time. But if we come in here, there is a REST call to get the parameters. And so if I come down here, this is a workspace very similar to the one we were just looking at. I'll click try it out. Token management. You mentioned the token.
Yeah, yeah. So that's for security, right? It's a way of authenticating.
Everything's locked down, and so we could generate a token here, but if we have apps that rely on this user account, that's going to break them.
Yeah, you don't want to be doing that.
So we want to look that up. In fact, we're going to hide that generate token in the next release. It's already been done. So look up the existing token, and then now I can click try it out. And if we scroll down and look at the response, we can see there's the output coordinate system with the 3 options as a list, and that allows you to then display that as a nice drop down, as we saw right here.
Right. Yeah. And so you have to process that to get it displayed.
Although again, I'm more of a traditionalist and I don't really know what REST is. I just want to use JavaScript. Fortunately, we have a new JavaScript library, right? You kind of showed that off a bit to begin with, and there's a function in there that just gets those workspace parameters and gives you a nice JavaScript object back. From there, you can actually generate form using a call and run the data download. So if we scroll all the way down, step 1, generate that form coming straight from that workspace, right? We can update it any time, and then we can click run data download, and we get a response. In this case, it's JSON with a link to that data as well. That's the URL. So there you go. No more having to understand REST. Just use JavaScript. All right. So with that, we're going to keep going. And what are we going to talk about next? Now we've done requesting data. We've done publish parameters. I think next we're going to talk about some performance tips.
Yeah. So if you've got all these requests coming in from users, you know, a lot of the data is probably going to be the same actually.
Yeah.
So what you can do to just improve performance there, reduce sort of CPU usage, just speed everything up, is to run a scheduled caching job. So you on a schedule just run the processing and put it in some location where your users can get it. S3, FTP, anywhere we can write to.
Excellent.
Yeah,
and you used FTP in the World Cup.
Yeah.
Kicking it old school.
Yeah, for sure.
S3 is really the new one. Yeah, and it is, like you said, it's all about performance and why reprocess the data.
Yeah, exactly.
Now we're going to move on to, we've talked about requesting data, now we're going to move to sending data and talk about some of the ways you do that. The first one we'll talk about is the upload service. We'll also talk about how you can use a notification service. And of course, we saw with data streaming service, you're actually sending the coordinates in already, receiving them back. And with both that and the notification, you can post data to those services, and I'll show that later on. But let's start it out by flipping over. I think I can do this. Flip the presentation over to, oh gosh, there we go. All right, you should be presenter.
Okay.
Let's learn about how you can programmatically upload or build an interface, a web app, to do data upload.
Yeah, okay. So another developer playground demo here. You can see upload file in session. That sounds good. So what this means is we can use data sets that aren't already accessible to the server. You know, it's something a user just has on their hard drive and they can upload it. So we've got your calls here: data upload, workspace parameters, generate form items, data uploads, workspace data, all the sample code, which we'll get into in a second. But really here we're just running Easy Translator, which is a deceptively simple workspace. It's actually quite powerful. Choose a file here. Let's go with another AutoCAD file, traffic signals, and we will upload that file. And once that's done, we get this response back, indicating that it's been uploaded successfully. We're just going to set this to same coordinate system, but we are going to translate it into a shape file here and specify that it's a CAD file. So now we're going to run this workspace. Did I click that? No, there we go. And get the response back. So this is the response. Oh, that failed for some reason. So we'll let you know if it fails. But yeah, I probably just configured something incorrectly here.
So it uploaded the file, and then
it uploaded the file.
During the run, there was something.
And you will be able to process why that happened. Let's try a different format here. Try some KML, say.
Let's see if we get a better result here.
Yeah. Okay. No, still not getting an output data set here. What would typically happen here is that you would get a link to the data set that was produced there. We will address this, and this demo will be working. You take a look at it. So let's just go through here. What happens when you hit that button, the upload files button? Oh, sorry. Well, first you have to initialize the server API here, and then get the session, which just identifies your connection with the server, browser and the server.
And that's a key thing, is getting that session.
Yeah, because that's how FME Server knows which file to use when the translation is requested by a specific user.
It's almost like a directory name, if you.
Yeah, kind of. It does actually use it somewhat like that. When you hit that upload file button, we're going to run the upload file workspace here. It's going to set the workspace to use, and then upload the data here. And of course the file input over there. This is process files. This is a callback. So when this action is complete, when the data upload is complete, we're going to automatically call process files, which is right down here. So this will process the response and put a reference to that uploaded file in this files variable there.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's highlighting that there.
That's the path to the file on the server.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
If you give that back to the server, it'll know what to use. And then finally, when you hit run there, it'll run the workspace. Oh, sorry, skipping down there. Here, run workspace. So we're going to pass along this object of parameters, files, just pulling that variable in, and of course the parameters, similarly to what Aaron discussed with building those published parameters and the input items on the form. And then run workspace with data and show results as the callback, so that the results will be displayed. Yeah, so this is just the easy translator workspace, of course.
So yeah, the key thing for me is always the session ID for sure, but passing that file reference all the way through to the workspace, and I think you've explained it very well.
Yeah. Okay. So I think let me go back here. Done sending. Done data upload. I think it's time for some questions. Oh, there's Laura.
All right. So I got my webcam going now. So
Okay.
there's a few more questions down here that were just asked regarding cores. So one is,
okay.
cores supported in FME Server 2014?
It's a good question. It is supported in 2014. You had to edit a configuration file. There is an admin guide set of instructions to do that. However, in SP3, which is coming out next week, there's that new interface that Devet showed, where you'll be able to configure it right from the web user interface.
Yeah. So yeah, in terms of how that works, so just by default you cannot request anything from another host in JavaScript because it's a security risk. But if you have kind of checked everything out and make sure it will be secure, you can enable cores for all sites, which is probably not recommended, or just specific sites that are allowed to request stuff from FME Server.
Let's do an impromptu. Charade type thing. So you're a Google and I'm Google.com. I'm Bing.com. Go ahead and ask me for $5.
Can I have $5?
You
please?
can't, because I have to allow you. So then with cores, I will say yes, you can have $5. Then you could go ahead and request it.
Okay. I am. Was Google.com?
Yeah.
Can I have $5, please?
You can now, because I enabled that. So that's that's actually his pay for the month. But so that's the cores thing. Can I use? It looks like is there another one there, Laura?
Yeah. So there's another question here. Can I use FME Server for an upload service without a web page?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. We've got people that are basically it all happens through REST, so through web services. So as long as your program, your code, whether it's Python or whatever it is, can upload via can send a HTTP request
Yeah.
In fact, you can do it through FME if you want.
Yeah, exactly. HTTP uploader.
Yeah.
You could also, if you set up a user account for someone on the web interface, of course, that's always still available. Log in through the FME Server web interface and upload files through there.
Yeah, out of the box. Okay, I think we'll. Thanks, Laura. I think we'll switch back to the presentation now. We're gonna move. We're still talking about sending, but actually with real time, you want to send and receive. So it's kind of a combination. And I'll flip to the next slide. You're going to actually show us a kind of a cool GIS or map editing demo in real time.
Yeah, it's something like a Google Docs for polygons. So just show my screen here.
All right, let's take a look at what you got here.
Yeah, so this is, it's called real-time map creation. So what we've got here is Google Maps. Just refresh this.
There we go.
So you can see the load of the polygons there. So you see there's nothing on the map at first, and then it's very rapidly they show up there. So yeah, this is an editing application. You can add a polygon like so, and you'll see that's an insert operation there. You can modify the shape here if you something changes and you need to edit that. That goes through as an update, and you can right-click and delete, and that goes through as a delete. How this is all done is using WebSockets, which is a technology that's included with FME Server, batteries included, and it basically allows low latency communication between a client and a server as well, but we'll get to that. And you can basically keep this persistent connection. So it's great for a high volume of short messages, which is what we're seeing here.
The problem with Ajax and what we showed before is that you have to open a connection each time, whereas this is, like you said, a persistent connection.
Yeah.
And the server can send data up, whereas Ajax you have to pull for data.
Yeah, and there's some workarounds to that, of course, but yeah, WebSockets is definitely the new technology there that's very well suited. So I'm just gonna zoom in here, but this is the workspace. Again, just the service consists of a workspace on FME Server. It's pretty easy to just publish that up. The key here is the WebSocket receiver. This is a transformer that just keeps the translation running, and you can see here the connection preamble. This connects to the stream IDs, the WebSocket stream, real-time drawing update in, so that it accepts those inserts, updates, and deletes. Just extracts the information there, JSON extractor, geometry replacer, geometry validator, all good spatial operations there. Here, this is an interesting thing though. This is the attribute creator with conditional values. So if it's an insert, we do an insert SQL statement, update, delete, and then that gets passed along. So
you're kind of translating the JSON messages sent from JavaScript into SQL.
Yeah, pretty much. That's what's happening here. And that is all for the purpose of persisting this data in a database. So the next time someone else loads this, they're going to get all the stored data, and then you're just going to put that in a PostGIS database. Finally, it's going to build up a message to send out and send it with the WebSocket sender. Again, all through the built-in WebSocket server in FME Server. This time, real-time drawing update out. So if we leave here, this is a view-only side of the application. So any client here would be receiving all these messages as well and just displaying it, but you can't do any edits.
It doesn't look that scary when you show the workspace. I mean, you're actually doing an extra step of storing stuff in the database.
Yeah.
But the WebSockets part is not that much to do.
Yeah. So yeah, this is it's just this on the client side. It's a get WebSocket connection. You get a standard WebSocket object back from that, but with just one line of code really, and then you can interact with it here. You know, create your polygons on Google Maps and so on. This is this demo is hosted on GitHub, so you can kind of browse the code, fork it, and use it for your own projects. And yeah, please do feel free to hunt around in there and find something that's useful to you. Yeah, so I think that's kind of it for this demo. Might as well head back over to Aaron for
Yeah,
for the slides here.
Let's head on back over.
I just got a couple more things to.
And so keeping going with WebSockets, in FME Server, there's actually a few different ways to use it. There they are: message streaming mode, which is kind of the purest way, and then hybrid, which is
it makes use of some other parts of FME Server. But yeah, message streaming. So this is when you're doing those doing all those edits. It just goes straight through the WebSocket server directly to this workspace, and this workspace just keeps running. It does take up one engine, but it allows this high throughput messaging to a lot of clients, and then just streams it right back out and gets displayed on the map. Now in the other mode here, which is hybrid mode, we're also making use of the notification service. So that's kind of what we're referring to with hybrid. This allows you to send in a single message. So this is like on the page load in that demo. Send in a single message. A different workspace runs and connects to the WebSocket server, streams out all that data. So that's great when you don't really want a workspace running all the time, but when it is running, it needs that high throughput of short messages.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like you said, that's when the web pages load up. That real time.
Exactly.
That's when it pushed all the existing polygons out to the user.
Yeah. So I think that's kind of it for the client server architecture side of things. We've got WebSockets.
Yeah. So now that you've seen kind of all of these different options here, we want to ask, what are you looking to develop here? What are you currently developing? What piques your interest the most here?
Yeah. So that was kind of a data editing demo we just saw there.
And visualization.
Visualization too. Yeah. I mean, a lot of these have an element of visualization, of course.
Yes.
It's so great being able to see.
Absolutely. Data delivery, obviously, one of our first and most popular uses for server. Lots going on there. Let's see. Looks like most people looking for data processing, actually.
Okay.
In some way, just processing data and then providing it back, or who knows
what
what that
delivery
means
there
exactly,
too. So maybe processing and delivery.
I see.
Maybe that's how these things work.
Okay, good. So we're back on track here, and I think we're going to look at the tips here, and we're right on track for time, so we're doing well.
Okay.
So development tips, and this is really oriented to the client server, kind of JavaScript really.
Yeah.
Although this is a tip for any kind of development, any code you're doing, use a source control, and I think of it as an awesome backup.
Yeah, but it's a bit more than that. Of course, it provides backup of code so you don't lose your work, but it also is great for collaboration. You can see in the diagram there, it's kind of maybe a bit confusing, but it's got some branches getting split off and merged together. So that's great when you've got multiple people working on the same project. Also, of course, allows rollback. So if you kind of code yourself into a corner and you're like, no, this is not where we want to be going. We need to back out of here. Just roll back to the last working copy and off you go.
Yeah, we're actually even looking at adopting Git internally. So
yeah, we already use it for these demos, so we can share them with all of you. But definitely a great tool.
And then we're looking at if you want to make HTML web pages that don't suck, if I can say that.
Yeah.
I've made a lot of circa 1994 web pages, but there are ways to do really nice web pages, aren't there? Yeah,
and good one here that we're going to highlight is Twitter Bootstrap. We use this for our demos, and it's basically, it was developed in-house by Twitter. They use it, but then they shared it with the world, and basically what it does is it just makes it so much easier to make the output, the interface of an app that you build look nice.
Definitely.
Yeah, just saves you from having to write a lot of boilerplate code as well.
Yeah, stuff I can understand. You don't really actually have to edit CSS. You just apply it, so it's kind of nice. Looking at libraries, I'll talk first about the common tasks. I think I looked online. It was something like 17% of websites on the internet are using jQuery now.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
It really wraps up all the tasks, the most general tasks that you'd want to do, and some more sophisticated stuff. Things like getting getting a JSON object, looking for elements in pages, things like that, right?
Yeah, some nice smooth transitions as well, fade in, fade out.
And then HTML templating, we're showing an example of here, something called Mustache?
Mustache, yeah. And I'm currently even growing one, as you may have seen. But really, that refers to those little handlebars there on their side.
Oh,
Mustaches.
is that really what that means?
Yes, that's the double mustache, and that is a placeholder. So what you do is you set up an HTML type template. I see that's marked as mustache template, and then you can just using a couple calls, just kind of slot a JSON object right in there, and it'll fill out the content dynamically. And so that really allows you to separate your content from its presentation, and just makes life a lot easier. You can just request a JSON object and put it right into a template.
Because back like years ago when I was doing this kind of stuff, you'd have to like create a div element and create a bunch of stuff.
Oh yeah, like concatenating strings together, basically.
Brutal. So nice way to make web pages. We're going to move on. We're going to talk about server-server architecture. So we've been focusing mostly on client-server, which is JavaScript to, or some other client to FME Server. But what about if you want to integrate and pass data between servers? So there are options already for doing this. There's HTML5 WebSockets we just saw. That's for pushing and for receiving from both client and server, or it can be server to server. Java messaging service is an option. Simple notification service from Amazon. The problem that a lot of people are encountering is the overhead here is you have to have one of these servers installed, so Node.js or ActiveMQ, or pay for Amazon service. And you have to work with the specific API, and it's a lot of overhead if you just simply want to offer kind of a way to get data to another server. So what a lot of people are doing now is especially newer cloud services are offering what's called a webhook. And the overhead there is literally just the ability to send an HTTP post or receive an HTTP post. So all you really need is a web server in that case, and that's a pretty low barrier to allow you to integrate two servers. And there we go a little bit deeper into a webhook. Basically all it is a URL. They call it a callback URL. One web service or server, such as FME Server, will provide a URL to another application, and basically you're saying, okay, here's a URL, please give me data when you have some. And that data, the other application goes, okay, sure, when I have data, I'm going to post it to that URL. And you can see that there's no real message format definition there. You just pass whatever you want, and then interpret it on the other end. And so, yes, server can both send and receive using webhooks, and I'm going to show an example here of just that. So in this scenario, I need to create Google Tasks create tasks in Google whenever there's a new file added to Google Drive. And the idea here is I'm dropping in a set of parks into Google Drive, and FME is going to calculate the area and then create Google Tasks. And basically it's a checklist. So every year I have to go and visit these parks and just check them off. And so kind of a made-up example, but it'll show the purpose here. So I'm going to delete the existing file that's in there. And here we go with Google Drive and Finder here. So I'm just going to drag this S3 spatial light file up in there. I'm going to, so now that's going up there, and within 15 minutes, Zapier will look at this Google Drive, and it will notify FME Server, hey, I got this new file, please download it and process it. And if we come over here to my tasks, let's see, I'll refresh it, nothing in there right now. And see if we get something. Oh, see, there's one, that's the first one. If we keep going, the rest of them will come in. So FME Server added the area on to this park, to this message effectively, and then passed it to Zapier, which then create a Google Task.
Yeah.
So kind of a way of integrating, and now you're totally confused, going, well, what the heck is a webhook, and how does that even play in? So let me actually explain what happened in the background. Here we are on a site called Zapier, And what it does is it allows you to, it's a web automation service. You can pick a bunch of different, basically services that you can monitor. In this case, I'm monitoring Google Drive, and when there's a new file, I'm going to send the message about that file, including how to download it, the URL, to a webhook. What webhook am I going to send it to? Webhook is really just a URL. And here it is. I'm going to send it to an FME Cloud machine, to a topic that's called new Google Drive file. There's my token for authentication. Now, how did I get this URL? Well, if I come to FME Server, it was quite easy actually. Come into notifications here, topics. I can filter down by Google. There's my new Google Drive file. And this is a handy new thing for, I think, SP2 or SP1 we added this in. It's the ability to get the callback URL very easily. There's the callback URL. I take that, paste it in here, add the token, and now Zapier will tell FME Server on this topic, hey, I got a new file, which then invokes this workspace here. How does it do it? Well, it'll send that message into here, but how does it actually, how do we connect this to the webhook? Well, we publish to FME Server.
So this is looking really familiar. It's kind of similar to when I was building that the data streaming service workspace, right?
Yeah, basically we are creating a webhook here instead of a reprojection service.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and all we have to do is click notification service, tell it to look at that topic, which is going to receive the data, right?
Yeah.
And then put that message into here. That's what we're saying here. And then you hit OK and you publish, and that finishes. So a couple things I want to point out here. The data comes in, it's flattened, it's JSON coming in, but we actually want attributes.
Right, yeah, I just stomp it down into attributes.
We stomp it down into attributes. We read in the parks, which is a URL web content link here, calculate the area. We actually build JSON back up because that's what we're going to send to Zapier, and in order for it to create the Google tasks, basically. We want it to have a title and to have notes. We create that, and then we use this FME Server notifier to post to another topic. So we use topics for all the kind of like the brokering, really. New Google tasks, that'll be the topic it's sent to when this workspace is run. So let's go and look at that topic. You can see there it is right there, new Google task. Now we need something to act on that, so we over in subscriptions, we can scroll down, or we can just search again, and we can see process Google Drive file. No, it's this one here, new Google task webhook. And all it is a what we call a push, which is an HTTP post, I should say, to this URL. Guess what this is called?
Webhook.
Or a callback URL, absolutely. Basically, they're kind of the same thing. How did we know to get this? Where did we get this from? Let's flip back to Zapier, and ta-da! Now you can have a webhook on the incoming side to create Google tasks. So if you scroll down, Zapier gives you the callback URL.
Okay, I was wondering kind of where are you getting that string from? Is this something you made up? But it's provided right there.
Yeah, and you plunk it in there, and so now you can see, and so it will then call this and create Google tasks. So that's how you can kind of hook these servers together in a pretty lightweight, low overhead manner. So that's webhooks, and let's keep going with the presentation. That just explains basically, Zapier has a webhook and FME Server has a webhook, and they're sending each other data. Now that being said, you basically do have to have a web server for the webhook, but there's actually this site called, this is kind of an off-road, but this site called Web Scripts.
Oh yeah,
which allows you to basically they host the script for you, and you just build it on their server. They give you a URL, and so you just post to their service, and you don't actually need it's kind of a neat thing. You wouldn't even need a server in that case. Of course, the FME Server gives you the spatial capabilities. That's getting near the end of our webinar. We're just on to kind of the last bit here. A few webinars coming up here. Check them out. What do we got here? Free training. server training, 23rd, 24th.
Yeah, for those of you who said you hadn't used FME Server yet, this is a great thing to take a look at.
Yeah, and if you want to know what the basic capabilities of FME in general, the desktop training is a good place to start as well. Now we're going to bring the webcams back up and see if there aren't some questions that we can answer. Some questions that we can answer here.
We're
back.
live. Yeah.
All right. And we'll get Laura back there.
Yeah.
So there haven't been too many questions in the last little while. So
I see. Yeah, I see. Please do write in your questions. We're going to stand here and stare at the camera until there's a question. But there was one comment about the client-server approach and that being a bit hard with in the past because of lack of examples. In the past, we only had the REST API.
Yeah.
Now we have this JavaScript library, which just you don't need to deal with REST. It's an order of magnitude easier. You just work with JSON. CORS is one of the big problems that people are encountering. We now have a web user interface, I think an SP3, that makes that configuration easy. So let us know about any kind of hurdles that you're dealing with, and we're going to keep bashing them down until it's trivial to create an application.
But yeah, that redeveloped FME Server Developer Playground has really examples of a lot of things that you might want to do, and if something's missing from there and you really want to see it, let us know too. That's
Anything you got there? Yeah.
Yeah, we got another question here. Is there a way of triggering, say, a workspace to import data if something's posted on an FTP site?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I can. There's okay, I see what Mary's asking here. We have actually an enhancement request for that, an FTP watcher. For sure, people want that. Let us know. Well, actually, what we'll do, Laura, if you could take a note of Mary's information, and we'll add her to that request.
Okay.
But for now, you could probably run a scheduled job.
Yeah, to check that, and that should work pretty well. We definitely do have people doing that. But yeah, in terms of pushing it, that would be a nice feature.
I guess if you're on Linux, perhaps you could mount the FTP, or maybe even Windows, mount it.
Yeah, you'd have to try that.
Or something, and then monitor it as a native directory.
Yeah, you'd have to try that and see how it works.
But yeah, we want that enhancement.
Looks like we're going to vote for the FTP watcher, so definitely some interest out there.
Oh, excellent.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's great. Anything else you guys want to see or questions? Throw it in here. We'll be adding you guys on to the database. So there's one question here I can't.
How to join the next 27th of August? That was the.
How can we join the next seminar? So you can go to safe.com/webinars, I believe. Can you double check that?
Yeah, that's right. /webinars. Yeah.
/webinars, and you'll be able to join any of the upcoming webinars. So yeah, check that out. This was the kind of the last of a series of technical webinars we're doing on FME Server. The other three are available off that same web page.
Yeah, and then for the training, that would be safe.com/training, I believe.
Two.
We've got a question that was cut off there.
Cut off there. Okay, well, I think we're out of questions here, so I think we'll end it off. What is there, another slide? I think I have one more. Yes,
yeah, thank
you. I don't know if we introduced ourselves in the beginning, but I'm Aaron.
And I'm Devet, and our email address is there if you want to contact us.
And you've been watching FME webinars.
Yeah.
All right, thanks a lot, guys.
Thanks, bye.